Welcome back, everybody, to the Geared Accountability Podcast. What's going on, Cody? How you doing?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Likewise, man. So we're back in it 7 days later, and we're reading this book, this new one called Wisdom Takes Work by Ryan Holiday, and Learn, Apply, Repeat. What were some of your takeaways so far, and like how is it relating to your life right now?
Man, this book is actually really good if you really want to dive deep into how you think and what you're kind of doing in your life. A few things that, you know, brought to my attention was find your teacher. It's a chapter in the book in part one where a mentor is not going to just come out of the woodworks and say, "Hey, I'm going to teach you. You're going to learn everything." It just doesn't work that way. How it actually works is that well, there's always going to be first I'm going to say there's always going to be people that always want to teach you. There's plenty of those people out there. But just like you have a checklist of, okay, I want to learn from someone who's successful in X thing. They also have a checklist of, is this person worth my time investing into?
Jesus. Yeah.
And so you sort of have to become that curious person, asking those questions, seeking out those teachers, and doing more for them than what they can do for you, so that they see that you're actually putting in the work and worth talking to. Maybe it's not financial. Maybe this person that you're learning from has all the money in the world, so it's not like you can just pay for their time. Maybe you can't, but say you can't. Well, you gotta be a little bit creative and figure out what you can do for them. Maybe it's like a good book that they read a lot, and so you offer them a really good book. Maybe it's something else. In my own experience, finding mentors, I've always had to do that. I always
Yeah.
had to seek them out, and LinkedIn helped me out a lot. If you guys are on LinkedIn, I found quite a few mentors on there. I'm, you know, I have a lot of friends who are scientists and doctors because I met them through LinkedIn, and we met, and then we had a Zoom call, or my previous work experience, just talking to these people out, not in like a work environment type of way, but just like trying to bridge the gap. Like, hey, good to meet you. We both work in the same spot. I would love to have some coffee and just, learn from you if that's okay. You know?
Did you get coffee with them? Some
Yeah.
of them?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
cool.
I had some great conversations. I had a
Really
conversation
good.
with the CEO of Roche Tissue Diagnostics, which is um, one of the giant pharmaceutical companies in the world right now. I had a conversation with her. I had a conversation with the head of legal. I had a conversation with a few scientists. I had a conversation with some facility workers, like head facility workers. I made a connection through a life cycle leader who introduced me to a regional sales manager for pharmaceuticals, and that was my mentor
Nice.
for a while when I was in sales. Um, so the main thing that I learned that I really grasped was you got to find the teacher, you got to really search for it, and it just takes time.
Wow. So that's kind of like in the book, right? They talk about section one, the Agoge, which is the Spartan training ground. Is that how you say
I called it a
it?
god.
Agago, Agaji, whatever, right? So, which, if you guys aren't familiar, it was like wasn't it a training ground where they take 7-year-old kids or something like that back in the day? Okay, this is not current, but they would take the Spartans and they would train them up from 7 years old in military discipline. And it was like a commercial. It was like for Sparta, right? Yeah, if you heard about that.
I mean, You could think of it as a commercial. It's much more propaganda for sure.
Yeah.
'Cause back then, Sparta and just the Spartan culture, um, they were a warrior-driven society. So back in the BC, around
Yeah.
that era, you had civilizations that made their money through trade and agriculture, but Sparta made their wealth through warfare. And
Which,
so they would take these kids at 7 years old, and they would put them through a brutal test, brutal training to create them into a soldier. And some of them died in the process.
Jesus, dude. Yeah. That's crazy. So, in relation to this book, it sounds like your a Goje, right? The training ground is finding mentors and others and creating your own training ground for whatever it is that you're seeking to improve in your life at this moment.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't really choose your training ground. You choose whether you'll be trained by it.
Yeah, you make that decision. Like, this is who I want to invest my time in. Yeah.
You know, I mean, just recently, my training ground, I'm doing a lot of different things. And
Yeah, dude.
it's easy to, I would say it's easy to do all the things that I'm doing. It's not easy to do all those things and do them good. You know,
Yeah.
I'm in college, so I'm figuring out how that works while I'm working, while I'm with you and doing this podcast and doing this content creating thing and creating actual videos that people might like. That is my training ground. And just recently, I was like, had
Yeah.
so much information in my head where I'm like, dude, I feel overwhelmed,
Yeah, bro.
frustrated. I almost don't know what to do. It's like there's just so much shit going on. Um, what ended up helping me was getting my journal out and just getting all that gunk out on the paper. Everything, just like, man, I'm a piece of shit. Man, this sucks. I don't know what to do. And what that allowed me to do is really get to my default setting. Because once I get all that gunk out, my default setting is okay, now we know what the shit is. We can now start to solve everything.
Yeah, you wrote it down.
And so, yeah, I wrote down all the solutions. I'm like, if we do this, then this will get better. If we do this, this is going to be improved. And it also is like a inspiring type of journal work that I do. And usually at the end, I'm like, dude, you're the only one that can change this, and you can change this, just like anyone here can change it, can change their
Yeah.
life. But yeah, journal
I agree
definitely
with that.
helps during this process of the training ground for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. Get your thoughts on paper.
But you have a training ground yourself too, man.
Yeah,
Uh,
man.
Tell me a little bit about your training ground and how you're sort of working through that.
Yeah, dude. So there's a lot going on recently with me. So I've noticed throughout my life there are a lot of like things I would dive myself into, and sometimes I wouldn't finish them. Right? I was having this conversation with like my family and my wife, and I got into a point I was like, what's going on with myself, right? So this is actually just like last month. So let me tell you guys a story. So when I was a kid, I was in the Scouts, and there's this at the very end of Scouts, right? There's this rank called Eagle Scout. Have you heard about that? Yeah, like at the very end, there's like an Eagle Scout, right? So I was like one rank away from becoming that, and I just left it, and then I joined football, right?
Hmm.
I completely left that whole life behind, like from 10 to 11 to 12 years old, and then I just left it, and I decided to join football. And then when I was playing football. Well, I got injured, but at the very end. But there were, I mean, I guess you would say like whenever there was a setback in my life, I'd always kind of just like fall flat. I don't know where that would come from. I would just like lose interest completely. And um, as you guys know, like in the previous podcasts, our stories, I talked about, I was in college and I was in a military program, and I ended up not finishing those things, right? I ended up starting a business, starting a meal prep business, and then starting an online coaching business. And the one thing that stayed with me is being an online fitness coach for this long. And I'm very surprised that I've been able to come this far. So, and then I recently just went to the doctor and I was like, hey, what? I noticed like these patterns in my life of not finishing things. So, I wanted to know like what's going on. So I went through a series of like questions with them, and then they asked me a bunch of questions, and I answered back, and then boom, I get diagnosed as ADHD combined for just recently. Yeah. So I feel like I needed to solve a problem in my life. So I was very determined to go out there and seek help. And that was very hard for me to do because I don't know, it was just like I don't I don't want to let anything like set me back. So like I need to find a solution. So
I'm
yeah,
curious. When you, I'm curious. So you got diagnosed with ADHD.
combined, yeah,
So does that give you clarity to
a little
like
bit.
like almost a reason to blame? Like, okay, this is the reason why I'm this way. So
Oh,
it releases like this pressure, or is it just something that you wanted to? It wasn't just something that you wanted to pin it against, is my question.
yeah, man, that's a very good question. I don't know. I'm actively seeking how to solve certain problems in my life and being very aware of it, of like these weird tendencies. Yeah. So I don't know what it is, bro. I'm trusting right now. I've been trusting the process. Like I'm tracking, I'm a big tracker. So I'm tracking when I'm taking it, and I can provide that feedback back to my doctor so I can understand what's going on. Tracking when I'm taking it, how much I'm taking it. It's very controlled. I'm not just like randomly taking it or taking too much. So
When you're saying taking it, are you speaking about like a medication?
medication, yeah, the ADHD medication, yeah.
Is it Adderall?
No, but it is a stimulant. It's Ritalin.
Okay.
Yeah, have you heard of that?
Um,
Yeah,
probably a long
yeah.
time. Then you probably
So,
get a lot of benefit from the one of the chapters called Focus, Focus, Focus.
oh yeah.
That's coming up pretty soon, and it's all about just staying on one thing, one task,
Hmm.
and seeing it to completely complete through. Because to a certain degree, I'm just like how you are. You know,
Yeah,
I hit these setbacks, and
yeah.
it it just demoralizes me, man. It's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it cuts my interest. It makes it very difficult to get motivated to do that thing. It's like, okay, but now this other thing is more sexy and attractive. I should just do that because my brain is trying to convince me that it's easier and it's better than what I'm doing right now. Uh,
yeah,
but what I found was that that's for me, it's just that's not true. My mind has a tendency to do that. It always has a tendency to, hey, let's do this thing, let's do this thing, let's do this thing. Hit a roadblock. Okay, but this other thing, we don't know the roadblock that's there, so it must be easier. We should probably do
yeah,
that, and it'll be more fulfilling. It'll be more meaningful. It'll be better for our life. And that's how your mind tricks you, is because it hits that roadblock and it doesn't want to go through that phase of figuring out and problem solving because
Yeah.
when you hit that roadblock initially, you don't have any information to go off of to solve it at that point. You have to allow it the time and figure it out how to do that.
Yeah.
That's the real work. But what I found, like in college, for example, I found out that online college just isn't for me. I did it one semester.
No. Yeah.
I did it one semester and it was fine. But I'm doing it now and I realize that my performance has not been as good as it could have been.
In person. Yeah.
Right. So my mind is telling me, well, school's not for you. And I'm like, that's not true.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
can't be true. And even if it was true, that's not what I committed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I found the solution is like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna quit, but what I am gonna do is next semester go in person. That way
Yeah.
I don't have that excuse saying online isn't for me and school isn't for me and none of that bullshit.
Yeah.
Your mind will do anything and everything in its power to take you away from uncomfortable shit. And for me, online school, I have a lot of distractions around me. They're not bad distractions either. Like I have my guitar, I pick up my guitar, I play it for like four
It's
hours.
probably the environment. You're just not in an environment that's conducive to training. It's
Well,
like,
there's a lot of reasons to it, but it just being online is could be the easiest thing I can fix, rather than quitting altogether.
yeah, absolutely.
So the main point is
Yeah.
sometimes your head just comes out with these
Yeah.
explanations and why you should quit something. And that's where you actually have to be accountable for yourself to
Yeah.
hold down and stand on the line.
Yeah. And there's a lot of reasons why, like, I started this podcast, and it's like I'm actively trying to create accountability systems for myself, but then my head is it just gets really difficult for me. So that's why I went out there and sought help, and not just for myself, this is for my family. Like, I'm trying to find an active solution to a problem, and I don't want to end up like some people in my life that never sought help. For example, my dad, my father, right? I only call him by his first name now, but like,
Yeah.
that guy did not actively seek help, and that's dangerous because, yeah, you got to actively seek accountability systems or something, because if you don't, it'll affect the entire family. And that's why I'm very strong in actively seeking help, man. You know? Yeah. So that's my training ground right now, is putting this all together.
You know, everything that you think is true, no matter what it is.
Very true. So what's your training ground, man? I mean, I know that you have a training ground right now, and you've recently discussed about it, but like, yeah, what life experience are you currently going through right now? That's your training ground.
Well, I mean, like I mentioned, I have a bunch of things that I'm doing, but just very briefly, like the main thing is how to puzzle everything together. Being present with my wife and doing the content creation, making the time to go out there, take the videos, and hang out with people who also share the same common interest, um, doing these podcasts, figuring out what I could do better, how I can read more, how I can, practice more on my guitar. And it's just combining everything for me. It's like,
Yeah.
how can I make this into something that is enjoyable for me to continue to do for 10 years, 15 years.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to content creation, I'm posting a lot of my motorcycle videos and I'm, figuring out, okay, what angles look the most appealing that people would like, and what can I put on my videos where it hits them to be like, okay, yeah, I resonate with that thing. I get that. That is cool. Or maybe it's a controversial thing that I can put out there and where it hits them and maybe it sparks some conversation in the comments. Content creation is this online business where you're figuring out marketing. And I marketed before, you know, but this is different. Like it being a personal brand, there's much more, how can I bring more of me without it being about me? So I can give more. So I'm posting
True.
not just my motorcycle videos, but I'm posting my guitar content, cool songs. I'm taking people's you know, what people want to hear. I'll take a look at the song. If it's the song that I like and I probably enjoy, I'll practice it a bit and then I'll post that cover.
Yeah.
I'm doing that today. And I also post my workout videos and all the exercises that I do with rep ranges and rests and coaching tips. I have 8 years of working out experience. I have about 5 years of bodybuilding experience. I have 2 years of powerlifting experience, and I have about a year of calisthenics. So I just put all my coaching tip, and I'm just giving it out for free. Anybody that's looking to improve their life, they can look at my page. Hey, not only does this guy talk about accountability, but he also shows and is actively giving us something that we
Yeah.
can do. So that's my training ground is how to fix everything into a working system.
Yeah. I feel like we're all trying to find a system that's like to run the system basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Definitely. Well, life is just a lifelong journey, right? Until you die. So, every day it's going to be how can I become better? How can I
Mhm.
learn from this situation?
Yeah. Very true. Yeah. Recently I've been experimenting with creativity and when you get into this content creation world, it's very different than, go to work, go to sleep, train. It's very what's that word? It's a pattern interrupt when you're going online and doing something that's completely different. Well, related to like my niche, right? Like people that just go to work, the 9 to 5ers, right? And so I've been reading this new book, right, along with Wisdom Takes Work. It's the book that I'm reading is called The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin, and it really talks about how creativity is like seasons and just letting it happen. Oh, Diddy, right? Letting shit happen and letting that creativity or whatever you are, and just being comfortable with it and just putting it out into the online world because that's your way to connect with people a lot better than just sticking to this structure and you're trying to force it, you know? And sometimes there's seasons where you're not going to post anything, and that's okay because you're finding yourself, you know? You're always finding yourself. So, yeah, I feel very peaceful reading the book because it's like grounding. It's like a grounding terminal for me. Yeah. When it applies to wisdom takes work, right?
I didn't read the book, so I don't know shit about
All good.
it.
Sharing an experience. Yeah.
I like what you said when um, just let it happen. Okay. As a creator and being creative, if you try so hard to make something a certain way, you indirectly siphon all the creative aspects from it because you're trying to fit this mold. And I don't believe in that. I think what would be much more useful is if you create that thing and create whatever it has made is the mold.
Yeah.
Then you just refine the mold.
Yeah.
And from there, you can create your other pieces of work. The content creator, I'm constantly thinking about new ideas and ways to um, ways people can come onto my page, stay on my page, um, improve my retention rate, and eventually I do want to start selling things, but I haven't figured out what I want
What
to.
you want to sell? Let it happen. Yeah.
I haven't figured out what people might want.
You'll figure
And
it out.
as a content creator, I'm figuring that out as well. So like
Yeah.
in my niche, it's very much directed towards men who are looking to be accountable through discipline. When you're riding a motorcycle, there's a level of discipline that you're doing with the clutch. You're slowly letting the clutch out while you're pulling the throttle. You're rev matching so that you don't cause internal damage. If you're coming down a hill, just like I did a few days ago,
Nice.
making sure that you're in a lower gear so you don't go too fast and allowing um, the engine mechanics to slow you down. You don't want to ride the back brake, otherwise your tire's going to lock up. Um, when you're taking a sharp turn, you don't want to use the front brake because you might fall. So there's some discipline that has to do with motorcycle riding as well. Um, you know, when it comes to me playing guitars and covers, I just do that because I enjoy playing guitars and I want to share cool songs with you guys. If you guys have a good song that you guys want to hear, let me know. I might be able to, make a cover out of it. And I'm constantly improving my videos. Right now, it's just the guitar, but eventually I'm going to be adding the backing track to it. A couple of my buddies play an acoustic. I know someone who
Sick.
plays the drums. So I see everything just sort of developing, and eventually we're going to make videos like that.
Yeah, man.
But that's just allowing it to happen. Eventually I can sell, I don't know, maybe somebody wants some cool gear and I can make a cool design and sell that. That'd be pretty badass. But just allowing it to take its course and
Yeah.
um, eventually if you continuously look to improve whatever it is that you're doing, something's going to flourish from that. And whatever that thing is, you can
Yeah.
take and then you can really focus in and create the details of it.
Yeah.
Man, it's gonna be mwah, it's gonna be perfect.
Yeah. I found, yeah, that's creation, man. You're just the creative act, a way of being.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically what you're saying. Like the more you go out there and you find out what it is that you enjoy doing, the more you do that, eventually that's the act right there. And then it becomes your your profession because you're constantly doing it. You're putting hours in subconsciously, and you don't even notice that you're doing it that much.
It
You
just
know?
becomes a habit at that
Yeah,
point.
it becomes a lifestyle, right? Yeah. So going back to the book, Wisdom Takes Work, the front page literally says learn, apply, repeat.
Mhm.
So something that you're trying to learn and then you apply and repeat it, right? Um, I feel like wisdom knowledge, right? Knowledge is when you read something, you're just borrowing it, but in order to make it yours, you have to apply it. So, and then once you apply it, it's owned, right? You own that. So, why do intelligent people stay stuck?
That's a good question. Um, real, I think it really just depends on what you define as intelligent.
Mhm.
You know, there's that person who believes that they're a know-it-all and think they have all the information,
Book smart.
that they think that they are intelligent. They have the book smart people who read a bunch of books, and that could be seen as intelligence. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't really deem that as intelligent. I think in my definition of intelligence is how fast someone can gain information and change their behavior, how fast they can pivot. That to me is what intelligence is when you hit a roadblock, how fast can you pivot to the next thing? And the thing is, the next thing may not even be the right thing. It may still be fucking wrong, but you don't know until you get that information. And so if we're looking at it from that definition, I think sometimes they get stuck based off of paralysis by analysis. They hit the roadblock and now they're overthinking it. They make this roadblock huge, way bigger than what it is actually showing them. And so now that it's this huge thing, this huge dragon, it's almost like, okay, I can't even comprehend tacking on something this huge because it's way beyond me. And I think if they learn to minimize it, it's like, okay, this is a roadblock. Now, look 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line. Is that still going to be a big problem for you? If it's not, minimize it because it's not a big deal. It's something that eventually you know that you're going to learn and improve on and get better, and you're going to be moving forward from that. Um,
Yeah.
now there are actual big problems, like I don't know, like if you have a terminal illness, that's not something that you can get over in 5 to 10 years. It's terminal.
Or pivot. You could pivot your purpose.
But even then, it's like that's a problem that's going to withstand the rest of your life. Okay, I'm not talking about those problems.
Yeah.
I'm talking about problems that hit your face and they seem big, but they're really not. And so I think people get stuck because they just exacerbate the issue versus what it actually is showing them. And I think it depends on the knowledge that you're constantly consuming, what information that you are taking in. Um, and it takes time. It takes time. When you're working towards that new improvement of your life, there's a gap between where you are right now and where you want to be. And in between that gap is everything that you need to learn and apply. So I'm curious, what knowledge did you consume for years before you finally got to the point where you're now at this point living it?
I'd say I consumed CrossFit content for like years, like when I was like 17, but I think I was like afraid of doing it. And just recently with like the push-up challenge, I just finally started doing it. What I mean by that is like the the competitive side of it. I would literally make myself competitive for it. Um, and it just happened. It was basically like the creative act. It just like happened. I saw this challenge and I thought it was daunting. Like I don't even know if I can even do that. And then I made it even more challenging. And then I held myself accountable with you and I was like, can I make it even more challenging? And I was like, can I get sub, can I do 45 minutes? Can I do 40? Can I do 35? Can I do 30? Can I do sub 30? And I found out myself doing it. I was doing like these, you know, CrossFit style workouts that seemed daunting at first, but yeah. So now my new style of training is hybrid training now. Is like I'm going real I'm growing really bored of like bodybuilding. Like I want something where I'm breathing heavily and like I'm dying. Like I enjoy that pursuit because it's different. Like I think it helps with my mind. My mind's always going all over the place. And when I'm doing bodybuilding, it's like, all right, I'm just picking up the weight. This is bad for the people who love bodybuilding, but like I'm picking up the weight. All right, looking in the mirror. All right, wait, resting. It's like I need something fast. So I like it when it's like there's no time under tension, you know? So I like the workouts of what CrossFit provides and it's fun. I consumed that for years though, and I never really did it. So yeah,
I find it interesting that when human beings have an idea for their life and the
yeah,
direction that they want to go to, they start to look for external things that confirm their beliefs of what's going on in their head. And the more that they see that, the more that they start to think about it, and the more that they think about it, creates this energy inside them that just pushes out their chest. They're like, man, I really want to do that thing. Then
yeah,
it creates the action where now they're starting to do that thing, and they're gaining this reinforcement, um, positive reinforcements, because that's what they've already been living inside their head all this time and all those years.
yeah. Interesting. I can I can recall situations like that. I remember I was very military driven in my mid 20s, and I would constantly see those Marine Corps officer commercials, right? Like, man, the impossible is being done. I was very driven to that. And I remember I couldn't even do like 10 pull-ups. So now that, because what you just said is like, I envision this, so I have to do more pull-ups. So it got into a point where I was doing 20 pull-ups like in one sitting or 25. And it just take you there. You see this vision for yourself, and when I was doing that military training program, I would just do whatever it takes to get in there and train. And eventually, I found myself inside a training program in Virginia in Quantico doing the thing. And I was like, how did I? Sometimes I'd be like, how did I even get here? Without the self-reflection, looking back,
Yeah, yeah.
like, wow,
Dude, it's one of the greatest things that you could possibly do if you're having a difficult time trying
yeah,
to introduce a new habit, or a new way of life. Try to look and consume as much information about that thing as possible. And it could
yeah,
be even entertaining. More to my point is that whenever I took a break from bodybuilding and I was trying to get back into working out,
yeah,
first thing that I would do is I would watch bodybuilding videos.
right,
Watch these guys go on stage and do the double bicep pose. Uh,
yeah,
they're doing bench presses. My way of working out is like they're crunching the weight, they're sweating, they're heavy breathing, low
yeah,
rest periods. They're just pumping as much blood flow as they possibly can. They're just, veins everywhere. And that gets me excited. I'm
oh
like,
hell,
holy shit, man. I want to fucking do that, bro. I want to
yeah,
right now. And it
yeah,
just gets me going. And
Yeah.
so anytime I've had a break in between bodybuilding, between powerlifting, calisthenics, doesn't matter
Yeah.
what type of exercise it was, what always got me back onto the gear, on top of the horse, was
Yeah.
watching entertaining videos about those things. And it always worked. Same thing with
Yeah.
guitar. If you are someone who plays an instrument, and you start to watch cover videos of other people playing these songs, man,
Yeah.
there's something about it. You just look at the person playing, you're like, damn, that's pretty tight. I'm gonna
That's
try to
pretty
do that
dope.
right now. It produces this energy that you didn't have. And I call that internal inspiration. It's what I do in my journals. Like I'm inspiring myself. And when
Yeah.
you learn to do that, you can create the habit that you need to take you on to the next level in your life. Because if you're not happy or if you're not excited about what it is that you're going for,
Yeah.
it's going to you're crawling on rocks. You're crawling on coals.
Yeah.
It's going to be a pain in the ass. So why make it that way? Instead, find a way where you can enjoy it before you even live it. So that way, when you do live it, you can say that, man, you fucking did it.
Yeah. I mean that you're like living in the process and you're forgetting about the outcome, pretty much, right? You're living in it. Yeah. Your internal inspiration that you're talking about.
It's extremely useful. Extremely useful. Man, when I was losing weight, dude, watching these bodybuilders. I didn't have abs at the time, and I was like, dude, I want abs. Those look awesome. And I didn't believe I can have abs because I was like 300 pounds, and it was just so
Damn.
300 pounds, and my whole life up to that point was about 16, 17 years of just fat. So, I mean, how could I think of abs? But I saw these dudes, and I saw a bunch of people with their transformations. And, I started to indulge in those type of videos, and that ultimately kept me on the horse. It maintained my inspiration in myself. Nobody else believed me. Nobody else
Yeah.
believed me. And
No
that's
one else is gonna believe you either.
and
Except
nobody
yourself. Yeah.
and nobody has to.
Yeah.
Nobody has to, bro. But the one person that has to believe in you is you.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's so true.
It's process over outcome.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. When you let go, you're doing the thing that you love, man. There's many. I remember when I wanted, man, it was like 2022 to 2023. That's the transition when I went from just an average bodybuilder to like, man, I was very consistent. And this is around the time I met Cody. And from that, and I had a mentor too. I had a mentor that was on me, man. Fuck, he was just like, do this, and I was like, all right, cool, I'll do that for my business. And those are the times when I look forward to the most because I'm in my creative act. Yeah, I remember like I don't even know if the tracking was right. I just like I remember just looking in the mirror. I was like, fuck, I'm hella lean. It's like how's this? I don't even remember how lean I was. I don't even know if the scale was right. I just knew I was in my creative act. I was posting content. I was doing the workouts and I was creating a community, you know. Yeah, those are the times when I'm in my purpose. So I constantly remember to just always be in that state and just let it happen, right? Let it happen.
Pause.
Pause. Yeah. So what's one thing that you think people should take away from this conversation, man? We went pretty deep. Pause. So,
I'll give you a few. The first thing is to find a teacher, to find someone that is already successful in the thing that you want to be successful in.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't have to be money. You know, if it's fitness, find somebody who's already locked it down and ask them questions. Ask them questions, try to bring more value than what you take. That way they can see you as somebody worth investing in.
Hmm.
The second thing is when you're creating a habit, look, seek out the information and seek out something entertaining that you can consume of that habit or of that thing that you want to do, so that it ignites this internal energy where you're no longer having to rely on anybody else. You don't have to rely on a coach trying to tell you that you have to do something. You don't have to rely on your wife or your friend telling you something. It's internal. When you can internalize it, you can create the habit that sustains you over time, that eventually takes you to the outcome.
Yeah. And I'd add for sustainability, I was reading about this book by Jeff Nippard. He was talking about if you want to make something in a for fitness and fitness context, if you want to make it last long and you want to be able to get results from it, make it sustainable, something that you enjoy. Because enjoyment, when you're smiling and you're doing it, I think it was from that book too that I read. But yeah, when you're smiling and you're doing it and you enjoy it, you're going to do it for longer, sustainability. So yeah.
Yeah. And I guess the last question for you, man, is what is life trying to teach you that you've been resisting?
What is life trying to teach me that I've been resisting? I've always had this mantra recently. This year it was stay in the pocket, meaning because I played football and stay in the pocket is a reference to a quarterback when he snaps the ball and there's the people trying to literally tackle his ass. All the defensive tackles, the linebackers, you have to stay in the pocket before you throw the ball so you can score a touchdown or move the ball forward wherever you are in the football field, right? So like all this pressure that's coming at you. So for me, it's stay in the pocket of life. It's like let it happen, like we've been saying, and hold on to the football and remember remember when you need to throw it. Um, there's this analogy I would like to give is so when you see a bow and arrow and you pull it back, getting stretched back, man, remember all this tension that's happening. The moment you let go, you're off. So that's my analogy. Stay in the pocket, remember when to throw it. So yeah.
I think that's super important for people to understand. You know, you're gonna feel the pressures and it's okay to feel those pressures. You just got to, like you're saying, release the tension from the bow and arrow. Allow yourself to
Yeah.
do what it is that you know you're gonna do.
Yeah, man. Yeah. The training ground.
Yeah. The agago or gago.
Agago. Gaji.
The gaji.
Yeah.
Your training ground. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So what do you want to do with wisdom takes work, man? You want to go into the next section or we want to stay on the training ground for a bit?
We can go on the next section. The next section is part two, the sirens, the Perilous Rocks you must be aware.
The Perilous Rocks.
Perilous Rocks that you must be aware. That
It
one's
sounds
kind
like some Lord of the Rings movie. Have you seen that movie?
yeah, a long time ago. My brother was
Yeah.
a fanatic about it.
Oh yeah. Every guy was a fanatic about that movie.
I didn't really like it.
Yeah,
Uh,
Perilous Rocks.
yeah, it sounds interesting, man. Perilous Rocks. Kind of sounds like you're sailing on the ocean and you're coming up to shore and there's these giant rocks. that you got to be aware of. Otherwise, it'll pop holes in your shit.
Which reminds me, um, my brother and I were talking about how I think it was Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He said perspective changes behavior.
Yes.
Yeah,
Big time.
yeah,
Big time. Dude, I always remind my wife this.
perspective.
I always remind her that no matter what happens in life, whether it's good, whether it's bad, you ultimately have the power to decide what is good and what is bad. So something that may come out as bad to someone else, you don't have to look at it that way.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I was talking to somebody a long time ago, and I'm just sharing how I see the world. Basically, like everything's an opportunity. Everything is in your benefit type of thing.
Mm,
And he was like, "Yeah, but it's just so easy to say that." I'm like, "You're absolutely right. It is easy to say that. It's a lot harder in practice. But if you believe it, it becomes easier." And he was a little bit pessimistic that day, but um, he said something like, "Well, you know, that's just not reality." And I remember stating,
your reality.
no, I remember
You know,
stating like, "Well,
man.
whatever you believe is true is true. Whatever you believe isn't. Your reality is your own." In other words, you get to decide what you think is right and what you think is wrong. And I'm not talking about the social contracts that we all live and abide by. I'm talking beyond that. I'm talking about the things that people say, well, that sucks. You can
Hmm.
be the person that says, well, maybe, or
Yeah.
that's so bad. And like, so sorry for you. And it's like, well, it's actually probably the greatest thing that ever happened to me because you believe that there's a greater benefit from that thing versus someone thinking that it's just horrible. Because, dude, when you think that something is bad, you're only getting negative information from that. You can't really do anything with that. You can't do anything with negative information or stuff that puts you down. So I look at it as no matter how bad something comes out to appear to be, try to look at what positive benefit that you can glean from it. Maybe it's a lesson. Maybe it's just teaching you how to shift your perspective. But there's
Yeah.
always something good to be taken from the bad. Always.
Yeah. There's always a silver lining out on the cloud. It's just
Every single time.
an opportunity for you to see it. You got to be
Mhm.
present. Yeah.
You know, when you fail at something, it teaches you how not to fail at that thing.
It's feedback. Yeah.
You learn how to win from that thing, And I think
Now you know
that's
your
that's
limits.
just super important, man. It's
Yeah.
just super important. And once you get to a stage of when you're just constantly winning and constantly winning, I think just be careful not to be so obsessed with failing just because of the lesson.
Yeah. You're like, all right, what lesson can I learn now? Yeah.
Yeah, because you failed so that you don't have to fail again. You learn the lesson so that you can win. So once
Yeah.
once you're already winning and you're constantly winning, just be mindful to know that you are gaining all this positive reinforcement feedback. Therefore, when you're winning, do not revert back to how can I fail to gain another lesson? Because that's just defeating the purpose.
Yeah. How can I not fail anymore? You're gonna fail again. Like, but that's yeah, your failure
Yeah.
is data, is feedback. It's feedback
Right.
and you know your limits now.
The
How can
point
I
I'm
get better?
making is not to seek for failure. The
Yeah,
point I'm
yeah.
making is you fail, you get information, you win, but don't seek for it.
Yeah.
So what's the fucking point? Like you're getting the information to win. Why do you want to fail? Like you're gonna fail when you don't have enough information to win. When you get that information, you win. Don't fucking go
Yeah.
backwards.
Yeah. Seek to win. Is that what you're saying?
Learn from your failures, but don't seek to fail.
Yeah. I ain't trying to fail. We're all trying to get better. Yeah.
Is that making sense?
Yeah. Don't seek to fail.
Yeah, just yeah. If you're already winning, keep winning, bro. Keep winning. Don't give yourself another reason to like, okay, well, now I gotta fail at this thing so I can learn. It's like it's not how it works. You're going
Oh
backwards.
shit.
You're going backwards. You gained information so that you can win. And I'm sure I sound like a broken record at this point. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, you never want to. Yeah. Yeah, man. I love I love it, bro. So what's next, man? We're gonna go on those perilous rocks this week.
Yeah, we'll dive in there and see what we can glean from it. And there's a lot of good chapters. Empty the cup. No idea what the hell that means. Grow up sounds good. Seek criticism. Make mistakes. Go deep. Don't fall for it. And understand people. There's a lot of good chapters in here that I'm curious about. That's gonna be good.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. July 10th.
July 10th. If you guys like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. We're constantly pushing out these videos every week. We change the times on when we're going to be posting them so that when we do post them, you guys can listen to it on the ride back home.
Yep, yep.
Hopefully, you guys enjoy that. If that's working out for you, let us know. Give us all the feedback you can, and share with your friends. The more people that watch watch our podcast series, the more people that we can, we can teach, we can show some of the things that we learned, um, and yeah, just having a good time doing it with you guys.
Yeah, man. All right, we'll see you guys in the next one next week. Come back to the perilous rocks. Let's go.
Okay. Peace out.
Peace.